You look at Gerard Butler today and see a global star, but the truth behind his journey is far darker than most people know. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll realize his story is nothing like the Hollywood fantasy. It's raw, painful, and almost unbelievable. So stay with me till the end, because only then you'll understand the whole picture. In 2025, Gerard Butler finally broke his silence about 300. What he revealed was chilling. The world saw an epic blockbuster that made over $450 million. But behind the camera, it was pure chaos. Every single day, someone was rushed to the hospital. Bones were breaking, actors were being speared in the eye, and Butler himself barely made it through alive. For 18 years, he kept quiet. And now, the truth is out. But his struggles didn't begin on a movie set. Gerard's childhood was already filled with silence and heartbreak. Born in Paisley, Scotland, his family moved to Montreal when he was just 6 months old. But soon after, his parents split. His mother took him back to Scotland, and for 14 long years he had no idea whether his father was even alive. Imagine being a kid growing up with that kind of emptiness. Then, one random afternoon at 16, his life flipped. He came home from school, and his stepfather told him to keep his jacket on. His father was waiting inside. Gerard, who rarely cried, broke down for 5 hours straight. That reunion opened new doors. Summers in Toronto, trips to Jamaica, glimpses of a father he once thought was gone forever. But even with that, Gerard's life was never going to be simple. Because while everyone thought he was destined to be a lawyer, deep down he was hiding a secret that would soon change everything. Everyone around Gerard Butler believed he was headed toward a prestigious legal career. At school, he wasn't just another student. He was head boy, the role given only to the very best. Later, he entered the University of Glasgow, one of the top law schools in the country. People admired his charm, his confidence, and his intelligence. On the surface, he was walking the perfect path toward success. But underneath, Gerard was already living a double life. By day, he was buried in legal theory. By night, he was on stage with his rock band called Speed. With no formal training, he sang covers of The Doors, Eric Clapton, and Jimi Hendrix in crowded clubs. While his classmates chased law degrees, Gerard was chasing a thrill that no textbook could give him. He didn't realize it then, but those late nights on stage were the first signs that his future belonged to performance, not law. Then came the turning point. At 27, just a week before qualifying as a lawyer, Gerard made a mistake that destroyed everything. He went to the Edinburgh Festival, drank too much, and got fired on the spot. 7 days short of becoming a lawyer, his dream collapsed. But strangely enough, that painful moment may have saved his life. His drinking was out of control. He admitted later that if he had stayed in law, he might not have survived at all. So, Gerard quit alcohol, packed his bags, and moved to London. But life there was brutal. He worked odd jobs, waiting tables, doing telemarketing, even selling toys on the street. From a near lawyer to barely surviving. It was a fall few could endure. Yet every struggle was shaping him for the moment that would soon change his destiny forever. In London, Gerard Butler's life was hanging by a thread. He had gone from the promise of a high-paying legal career to scraping by on odd jobs just to eat. He waited tables, dealt with rude customers, begged strangers to buy things over the phone, and even sold toys on the street. It was exhausting, humiliating, and depressing. But these struggles toughened him, preparing him for something far greater than he could imagine. One day, fate intervened. Gerard ran into someone he knew from the Scottish Youth Theatre, now a casting director. They reconnected, started dating, and she gave him a job as her assistant. Suddenly, Gerard was in the world he had always wanted, sitting in auditions, watching actors perform, handing out scripts. But instead of satisfying him, it only fueled his hunger. Every time he scheduled a meeting, he thought, that should be me. And then it happened. Gerard got the chance to audition for Steven Berkoff's Shakespeare play Coriolanus. Some say his girlfriend helped arrange it. Others say Gerard himself begged Berkoff in a coffee shop. Whatever the truth, when he finally got to perform, he gave everything he had. Berkoff was impressed with his energy and cast him on the spot. At 27 years old, Gerard Butler had just landed his first real acting job. Walking home afterward, he described it as the happiest moment of his life. That role lit the spark, and soon he was cast in the film Mrs. Brown in 1997 alongside Judi Dench. It was supposed to be a small BBC project, but Miramax picked it up and it became an international success, even earning awards buzz. For Gerard, it was more than just a credit. It was proof that he had finally broken through the wall that had kept him on the outside for so long. Gerard Butler's rise in Hollywood wasn't smooth. It was brutal, both mentally and physically. His breakout came with 300, but behind the legendary battle scenes was a nightmare few knew about. The film used over 8,000 separate VFX shots, blue screens instead of real landscapes, and digital armies. For the actors, it was disorienting. Butler later admitted he felt completely disconnected, swinging weapons into empty space, reacting to nothing but a blue void. To survive that world, he needed help. That's where stunt double Tim Connolly stepped in. Connolly trained Butler, performed dangerous scenes, and even played Leonidas's father in the film. The symbolism was striking. Off-screen, Connolly molded Butler into a warrior, and on-screen, he was the father who created him. But even with support, Butler still got injured. He tore a tendon in his arm and developed nerve damage in his leg. The role was destroying his body, but it was only the beginning. The training for 300 was unlike anything Hollywood had ever seen. Mountain climber Mark Twight pushed the cast through 4 months of extreme workouts. Every day was unpredictable, flipping tires one day, heavy kettlebell lifts the next. His goal was to keep their bodies in shock, forcing survival mode. The infamous 300 workout had no breaks: 25 pull-ups, 50 deadlifts, 50 push-ups, 50 box jumps, 50 floor wipers, 50 clean and presses, and another 25 pull-ups, 300 reps total. Only half the team finished it. The set itself was just as dangerous. Real metal weapons, dulled but still sharp, caused constant injuries. One actor was speared in the eye, another broke his ankle. Every day someone went to the hospital. Butler himself was thrown into a wall by a Range Rover during another film, worsening his injuries. What audiences saw was cinematic glory, but behind the curtain it was closer to a war zone. After 300 turned Gerard Butler into a global star, everyone expected him to remain the ultimate action hero. But Butler wasn't interested in being boxed in. Just months after slashing his way through Spartans, he shocked Hollywood by appearing in P.S. I Love You, a romantic drama. The film earned $156 million, proving he could make audiences cry as easily as he could make them cheer. From there, he jumped between genres: comedies like The Ugly Truth, musicals like The Phantom of the Opera, and thrillers like the Has Fallen series, which alone grossed over $500 million. Still, the shadow of 300 followed him, a reminder of both his triumph and his pain. Yet his off-screen battles were even more intense. During P.S. I Love You, a stunt clip accidentally injured Hilary Swank, sending her to the hospital. Later, while filming Chasing Mavericks, Butler nearly drowned after being smashed by giant waves at a notorious surf spot. He barely survived and soon became addicted to painkillers, checking himself into the Betty Ford Clinic in 2012. In 2017, a bee venom therapy nearly killed him after triggering a severe allergic reaction. And in 2018, the Woolsey fire burned his Malibu home to the ground. Time after time, Butler came close to losing everything. Through it all, he kept giving back. As a supporter of Mary's Meals, he traveled to Liberia and Haiti, cooking meals and teaching classes. His efforts helped feed millions of children worldwide. His career box office now stands at over $3.2 billion, proving his enduring power as a star. But in his personal life, one chapter remains unfinished: his long on-and-off relationship with Morgan Brown. At 55, Butler still hasn't settled down. Maybe that's because, like his films, his life is still full of twists, battles, and unexpected turns.